Hello, this is a tutorial about gradients. So what we're going to do is to create some cool effects that you can do with that very useful tool that Photoshop has. So we're going to start with a blank document here that I have created, and we're going to go and select the gradient tool, which is right here on the left hand side of the title, the tool, Photoshop tools, and you have a gradient tool. Alright, you can also press G as a shortcut. Alright, once you click on the gradient, you have a lot of different possibilities in the top here, and you can see there's different kind of gradients. You have the linear gradient, you have the radial gradient, angle gradient, reflected gradient, and diamond gradient. Before to do anything, you have to understand that there's all the gradients you made will be based on two things. One is the foreground and the background color, because you can see it's black to white, and you can see that it goes from black to white right there. And the other thing is the color underneath the gradient you're using. In this case, I have the background color, which is white. Alright, so if I do, for example, I choose the linear gradient, but I come here, which we're going to talk in a second about all these possibilities, but you have foreground to transparent, and I go foreground to transparent from top to bottom. You're going to see that is black to white, but that's because the background was white. If my background, let's create a new layer, and I'm going to go real quick, you don't have to follow me on this. I'm going to fill this layer with blue. Alright, and now if I go from top to bottom, I have selected the gradient foreground to transparent. Alright, you can see black to transparent. The checker mark here is transparent, actually checkerboard, sorry. If you drag from top to bottom, now you can see that it's black to blue. That's because this layer was filled with blue. Alright, so it will change according to the layer you have underneath if you select any color to transparent. Okay, I'm gonna undo with a Control Z, and now we're gonna talk about these different possibilities. You have here foreground to background, which is black to white. Alright, so if I click on that and I drag from top to bottom in a linear gradient, you're gonna go from black to white, regardless the color is behind or underneath. Now, if I select foreground to transparent, that's what we did before. You're gonna go from black to blue, and if I select black to white, you're gonna go from black to white. At this point, you're probably thinking, yeah, well, but this one and the first one are the same. Yes, because the color here is black, the foreground color is black, the background color is white, and here you have foreground to background. But if I change for example, the foreground color, and I go red, and I select OK, you see how it will update here from red to white, because it was the foreground color to background. My foreground color now is red. Alright, so if I go from top to bottom, it will create red to white, regardless the color we have underneath on the layer. Okay, so there are other gradients here that you can select, and you can download more from the internet. I got this one. This kind of a very interesting effect, is transparent stripes. Alright, and what I'm gonna do is to show you what can you do with this kind of gradient. Okay, so for example, if I go from top to bottom, it will create some kind of stripes halfway. So you can, if you have a white background, you can do a US flag or something like that. But if you have for example, the radial gradient, you can have an interesting effect. If you go halfway, you're gonna have that kind of thing. Now, let's say you want to create something like the Target logo, right? So you deselect this layer, okay, and you do it using we're gonna use the background because it's already white. I'm gonna go from the middle to the corner, and there you go. You have the target logo or anything you want to do with that. Let's undo this, and I can show you one more thing. If you use the diamond shape here, gradient, if you go for example from the middle to the corner, you can have this kind of square thing. Alright, now if you go from the middle to top, because it's a diamond shape, it will create a diamond shape. Alright, and if you go halfway like this, you're gonna have a smaller one. If you go passing the limit of the document, you're gonna create a bigger one. So it's up to you to decide what to create, but just play with it. Gradient tool is a very creative function that you can use in Photoshop. So play with it, experiment with it, and see you soon.